Hello, my name is Autumn Newsome, and I'm the hearing impaired teacher for Knott and Letcher County Schools. And I'd like to talk to you today about some do's and don'ts for students with hearing impairments. So we do the best we can with the knowledge we have, but when we know better or we learn something, we can do better. So did you know that you may have a student in your class with hearing loss? The following questionnaire may help you determine whether or not you have a student struggling. So, do you have any students that are more isolated from their peers or friends than usual? Do you have any students who are becoming very fatigued after listening? Are there any students with a low tolerance for frustration? Perhaps he or she is melting down. Are they giving inappropriate answers to simple questions, answers that don't really make sense? Are they constantly asking you to repeat yourself? Do you have any students with poor reading skills or poor written skills? And how is their spoken language? Do they have poor attention skills? So, any of these questions, if you'd answered yes to any of these, this could indicate that you have a student with a loss. Now, here are some things of what a DHH student may do. He or she may look around frequently. This is so they can localize sound. We use both of our ears to localize sound. And they often don't know what to do next. So if they're in centers, for instance, they may not know that it's time to switch because they may not be able to hear the bell that you ring or the alarm that you use to let kids know it's time to switch. So sometimes they'll look at their peers to know what to do next. Now, this can appear off task. It looks as though they're not paying attention, but they're really trying to keep up with the class. They also may become very defensive about this, so it's important to use discretion if you choose to talk to the child about their loss or if they are struggling. Now, these kids will often blend in with other students, so that puts them at risk for fading into the background, falling through the cracks. They don't always know how to speak up for themselves. They don't always know how to, what we call, advocate for themselves. And a lot of times these students are going to pass routine screenings. This doesn't mean that they hear normally, it just means they've learned how to adapt in a hearing world. So if you're in this position, don't panic. You definitely want to avoid sitting your student near something noisy. So an air conditioning unit, an air purifier, a lot of schools have these now. And this is going to impact that child's ability to hear you. So keep that in mind. You also don't want to turn your back on your students. When you turn your back, it's removing those visual facial cues from that child. So it's important that they can see your face. Now, you don't want to seat the child where the speaker's face isn't visible. So if you're standing in front of a window and the light is causing your face to be dark or not visible, it's important to repeat what you said in a place where they can see your face. And you don't want to cover your lips. That is very difficult when we are required to wear masks. However, you can pull down your mask and you can also purchase a clear mask. I've attached a link that you can use to purchase some clear mask that I have found very useful. You want to remind them to use an inside voice because some of these students are going to speak loudly and they can't help that. So make sure you do that with care. You want to give them a little extra processing time because they are processing auditory information, and that may take a few seconds longer than a child that hears normally. You want to be patient with them. It's important to use patience with all of our students, but especially with our DHH community. And you want to use closed captions when possible. These make things so much better. Provide them breaks because they will get more tired than their peers, and repeat your directions. And you want to keep your background noise to a minimum. Humming sounds can come from many things. A classroom is noisy, but you want to try to keep in mind that the less noisy it is, the better for this student. You want to use visual supports as much as possible to supplement your auditory lessons. So anytime you are using just a lecture or something that is spoken, you want to support that information with something in black and white that will help that student to understand. And you want to provide as much redirection as you can when they lose focus. And keep in mind that when they lose focus, it's not necessarily because they are trying to distract. They are usually trying to just make sense of what they're hearing. So some students with hearing impairments wear 2 hearing aids, some wear only 1. Some students wear cochlear implants. And these are a little less common than hearing aids and indicate a much more profound loss as they are much more invasive. And then you have the other students who are not wearing any devices at all, who may not even realize that they have a loss. This puts them at more risk in the classroom setting. Now, these students are going to be harder to identify. However, we can make sure they're successful by meeting their needs and ensuring that they have access. Hearing impairments, that disability falls into what we call an access disability category. It's access that they are needing. And so if we provide that, we are going to give them the best chance at success. Now here is the link for the clear masks if you'd like to purchase. These are by far the most comfortable masks that I've found. You will forget that they are on. They're that comfortable. And they're reasonable also, so they're not very expensive. And as always, you can reach out to your hearing impaired teacher for the district and they may be able to give you some. You also want to look on the next slide for some more resources. These are just if you'd like to look into this a little more. And as always, you are welcome to reach out to me. My name is Autumn Newsome again, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen and understand a little bit more about our students and what their needs are. And I hope that I've shed a little bit of light on these exceptional students. Thank you.